Fight scenes are a great way to move a story forward, or are sometimes just a cool thing to watch. This video is a tutorial for creating Lego stop motion fight scene. However, most of the tips can apply to any form of stop motion. To start off, you need to decide on a style for your stop motion. Some people go for a more realistic approach, while others have more exaggerated movements. Once you have decided what style you're going to use, you need to establish the setting and the context of the fight. You need to tell the viewer where the fight is taking place and who is fighting. This is easily done with an establishing shot showing the two people who are fighting and the area where they're fighting in. For example, in this fight scene, the terrorist leader has run out of bullets and is forced to use hand-to-hand combat. Such a simple thing can set up the fight scene and make it a lot better without anyone noticing it. I prefer to improvise my fight scenes because it makes it more unexpected and gives it more of a flow like a real fight scene would. However, I do have a plan in my head of where the fight scene is going. Before I start filming, I know the style in which each character is going to fight with and who will have the upper hand most of the time. I also know which direction the fight will take them, for example, going into a wall and then crashing into the table in this fight scene. When you're filming, it's important to show the power of the punches and include appropriate reactions from each of the figures. Each punch should be anticipated by the person throwing it, and the other person must react accordingly. Remember to ease in and out while you're doing this. It is often a good idea to keep fast motions, and you don't need to animate as smoothly as possible, but you do need to keep the flow of the fight and not let any jerky motions put the viewer off. Also remember to make sure that the punches follow through. Keeping the camera close to the characters and using lots of camera movements is a good way to make the fight seem more confusing and quick-paced. Be careful though not to make it too confusing. To help you with this, you can use the 180-degree rule, which basically means that each character stays on the same side of the screen. Then the viewer can follow easily where each character is at each moment. Sometimes you want to have a wider shot to give the scale of the fight and to show where everything is at some points. To keep the fight interesting, make sure you use other moves such as headbutts and kicks. You can also try to include other set pieces in the fight. Sometimes it's difficult to animate on a small set, so usually what I do is I put the camera a bit further back and then scale it up in After Effects. This also allows you to do camera movements in After Effects, which is useful because it is sometimes smoother, and you can also add a motion blur, which makes the fight look faster. In After Effects, you can also add a slight camera shake using the wiggle position effect. Adding a motion blur can smoothen out some of the motions, but be careful not to add too much because it might seem too blurry and out of focus. For sound effects, I start by adding accent sounds such as hits and punches, as well as footsteps. Then I add subtle sounds such as clothing rustling and fist swings. Finally, I record some grunts and heavy breathing and add it as background noise. This gives a really nice effect and makes it seem like the characters are real. Make sure you add fast-paced music to the background of your fight. I like to keep it quite quiet to emphasize the sounds of the fight though. So, as a summary, here are the main points of this video. Your main goal is to show the power of the punches and how it affects the other character. Make sure both characters keep moving and reacting to each other's punches. Don't be afraid to make it look like the punch really hurt. Make sure that the fight is always quick-paced and don't let the viewer expect what is coming next. The fight should flow all the way through the scene. And use other moves and objects that will keep the fight interesting. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below and any other tips that I might have forgotten.